Have you ever felt like the GPUs we're getting these days aren't the same generational leaps that we've had before? Or why does it feel like they're not built to last, what with all the technologies being locked away only to be used exclusively by newer and newer hardware? Granted, not every release from both sides have been stellar throughout the years, but why does it feel like it's worse now than ever? It's gotten to a point where a manufacturer says that they've created a $549 GPU that could beat the previous generation's top-of-the-line GPU, but hilariously get beat during testing. Now, I'm not saying that every GPU release should be a goddamn magnum opus and it becomes the new graphical processing standard. What I want is for those newly released GPUs to perform better than the previous generation. This video was made with the support of my patrons and subscribers. Consider giving this video a like and subscribe to my channel. More info in the description and comments below. And once again, here we are with another episode of 13 Talks About Gaming, where I'm seriously starting to consider renaming this series to 13's Therapy Sessions, since this almost feels like shouting into the void. But with Nvidia's recent shitshow of a release and ongoing issues, I've needed these therapy sessions now more than ever. But you can also treat this video as a sort of catching up with Jensen Huang's shenanigans. So without further ado, we can start with Nvidia. I have no idea why you would blue ball your entire fan base like that. Back in my day, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when you announce something is going to be released on a certain day, you best believe that you'll want to stock your retailers with as much shit as possible, so everyone gets a piece of the proverbial pie. But for some reason, Nvidia decided to give retailers the amount of literal breadcrumbs, and it was made worse with the advent of online shopping, where these things can easily be bought by bots who are probably monitoring these things better than any human being could ever do, but whatever. You'd think you can wait and maybe you'll get one of these in stock, but then you'll soon find out that the real world price versus the MSRP are wildly different. I don't know about you guys, but when something is getting priced at around 60 to 140% above MSRP, that tends to leave a bad taste in the mouth. You can definitely wait, but if you're in a situation like you're in a hurry to buy a GPU for your brand new computer, or if you're really in need of one, or is considering to upgrade, then you're most likely fucked if you're in the market for a current generation GPU. As some of you might remember, the 4090s of yesteryear tend to, how should I put it, literally burn themselves to death. It had something to do with their new 12-volt high-power connector. Some burns were bad enough to kill the graphics card too, so you're more or less left with a $1,000 paperweight. Fast forward one generation, and you'd think the geniuses over at Nvidia would fix this problem. You know, because Nvidia is selling us a goddamn fire hazard for one, and two, these things cost upwards of 1,500 grand at launch. Not to mention the pricing was made worse because of the scalpers. But nah, Nvidia in their infinite wisdom decides to release it with the same motherfucking problems. At this point, I'm starting to wonder how this company is not getting sued. Now, I'm scared about what they'll release with the 60 series cards in the future. What are we gonna get, Jensen Huang? A $3,000 GPU laced with C4? You guys remember physics, right? You know, that proprietary technology that Nvidia kept touting all these years. They even had demos for it, and there were even dedicated videos that show real-time physics simulations for their cards. Now, welcome to the future, where if you decide to play Mafia 2 or Mirror's Edge and encounter an area where physics would have been used, you will experience a massive performance drop since Nvidia decided they'd cut support for physics. I'm just gonna skip the why and fast forward to how. Like, how the fuck can these guys manage to shoot themselves on the foot so many godforsaken times? Mind you, games like Witcher 3, Warframe, Fallout, Batman Arkham Knight, and Borderlands 2 use physics, as well as few other games. What's funny is that these games that I've mentioned are incredibly replayable, that you'll most likely find yourself reinstalling it one of these days. And to add insult to injury, these sneaky fuckers decided to cut support without announcing it, which really shows how far Jensen Huang will go to secure more funding for his future leather jacket research. And if you're concerned about whether or not future cards will support physics, unfortunately, your guess is as good as mine. In modern computer graphics, a ROP, or render output unit, essentially is one of the final steps in rendering your precious visuals. Yep, those things that you guys keep maxing in the graphics settings, including myself. So when your graphics card that costs upwards of $1,500 is missing a few of them, it tends to perform less than what was marketed. It also tends to burn a little hole in my heart. Oh wait, that's me about to have a heart attack with all these massive incompetence coming out of a company who's been doing this business for about 3 fucking decades. And as far as which cards were affected by this manufacturing anomaly, there were reports that the 5090, 5090D, 5080, as well as the 5070 Ti cards were missing their ROPs. So if you bought one early, you might have scored a bingo on your GPU bingo card this year, though according to Nvidia, they've taken notice of this and has since fixed this in their production pipeline to avoid these same issues, but that of course still remains to be seen.
4090 performance at 549. Impossible without artificial intelligence. Impossible without the 4 teraops of AI tensor cores. Impossible without the G7 memories.
He did say though that it's with the power of AI, which means DLSS, which means upscaling with frame generation, and to be honest, with how bad DLSS looks sometimes and how bad low FPS frame generation feels, this definitely isn't a 4090 equivalent. I'm sorry Jensen, but a 4090 can run Borderlands 2 with no hiccups. Can a 5070 do that? Didn't think so. Hell, in one of Daniel Owen's videos, it literally cannot run Indiana Jones in the Great Circle at 4K with DLSS set to quality because of the lack of VRAM, and this might be another thing, but I cannot believe we're still begging to get more VRAM out of these cards. 16 gigabytes, Jensen. 16 is what the people are asking for. I hate that he's hyping people up with these completely bullshit statements, making people think that they can get 4090 performance out of a $549 card. Yes, maybe if you're playing at 1080p to 4040p, you won't get any problems. But if you're planning to go any higher, you're gonna start to notice a dip in performance. So I don't know about you guys, but I know people who are really into gaming, but unfortunately cannot afford to go into it since building a longer lasting PC with future proofing in mind has been increasingly expensive for them. I even want to help someone I know build a PC, since this person has been wanting to play other games for a long time now. Sadly, with games nowadays requiring more and more performance from the hardware, she's stuck playing older titles or indie titles that don't require much in the way of performance. And with all the scalping, disparities between MSRP and real world prices, performance problems, and a chance to get your entire PC set on fire, I'm left with shittier and shittier options that you're either choosing to take a gamble on the current generation versus taking the performance hit but with the ensured reliability of previous generations. Though not all previous generation cards are reliable, there were still news of 4090s burning power cables in 2025, but yeah, one generation ago, I thought the release of the 4090 was bad, what with all the burning cables and all the scalping, but they've managed to top that with this one. And it's kind of exciting in a way to see what they have in stores for us next, though not literal stores since they can't even stock that. Funnily enough, even my brother, who's a big fan of building computers, decided to sit this one out to see if there are any more problems as well as if there's any chance that the prices will eventually drop. Unfortunately, all of us know that these prices aren't about to drop anytime soon. I mean, if 3090s still sell for about $800+ average here in my country, I find it hard to believe that these 50 series cards will do the same. Even if they release the 60 series cards or whatever Jensen Huang decides to call them, the cherry on top with all of this is the fact that Nvidia's focus isn't gaming anymore. Most of the money they make has been from data centers buying their hardware. I just hope AMD and Intel step up their game in the future to give Nvidia some form of needed competition and to give us, the people, more options. Until then, we're just gonna have to deal with Jensen's need to buy fancier and fancier leather jackets. So what do you guys think I should talk about next? Drop your answers in the comments down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Consider joining my Patreon for more behind the scenes content, as well as my Discord community server. And subscribe so I can buy my own leather jacket collection. Until next time.